The Substance is the grossest movie I have seen in the last decade. I'll be taking 17 of them. Welcome back, everybody, to All Hallows Cleave, where we talk about Halloween, where we talk about horror movies, and all those really creepy things that are currently living in your closet. My name is Kyle, and tonight we're going to be talking about one of those movies for me that absolutely came out of nowhere, and that is a little movie that you might have heard of called The Substance. And I know you're tired of hearing this, but at least in my opinion, that is constantly changing. This is the best horror movie of 2024 by a long shot. It's kind of sad to say, but it's also very rare that everything just works in this movie. Like, every single person who worked on this movie put on their pants in the morning and did their job 110% every single day of production. And really, it absolutely shows in every aspect of the movie. And that's so exciting to see in such an amazingly well done horror movie, because it's rare for a movie to do that, let alone something involved in horror. But what is The Substance about? Why is it my favorite movie of 2024? Well, we'll definitely talk about it, but I just want to say this right before I get into story details, a little bit of spoilers and whatnot. If you have not seen this movie, I implore you, please go see it, especially if you don't know anything about it. The only thing I saw going into this movie was that little green vial of goo. And after seeing the movie, I'm glad I didn't know a thing about it. Thankfully though, in the marketing, they really haven't given anything away. I mean, just watching the trailer, you can kind of guess what the story is going to be about, but not in the way that it's actually conveyed, and I love that about this. Even if you are not a fan of body horror, because yes, this is a heavy body horror movie, you really should go see it. Seriously, go see The Substance. But with that being said, let's talk about the movie. How much will you be willing to sacrifice to make a better you? A better body, a better mind, a better skill set? Literally, if you could make yourself at least 75% better of a human, what would you risk? Well, Demi Moore's character Elizabeth is literally willing to risk it all just to combat the beauty standards of Hollywood. After Elizabeth is more or less thrown into the trash, she seeks the help of a black market cell-replicating drug known as the Substance, which allegedly creates a younger, better, and more powerful version of you, which, after taking the Substance, creates the physical embodiment of the perfect Elizabeth known as Sue, played incredibly by Margaret Qualley. Now, even though these are two separate people with two separate but similar personalities, it is important to remember that they are still one person, in that it's 7 days with and 7 days without, which basically means that the consciousness goes from Elizabeth to Sue weekly. And everything works fine, but you must follow the rules. Now, even me just explaining the plot, you're probably thinking, yeah, we've heard and seen this movie a million times, which is honestly true. The plot is very simple and has been done before. However, it's the way that they go about doing this plot. You see, it's not just a simple transition like diddle-a-doo, diddle-a-doo. Oh no, this transition happens in probably the grossest way possibly done, if ever done on film. And it is glorious to look at. And when you think that this movie is over, it's not. I swear, the last like 15-20 minutes of this movie, I was just like, the whole time. All right, so let's talk about the good with this movie, because honestly, for me, there's little bad. This movie's amazing. For those of you that only specifically follow me on YouTube and haven't gone through my TikTok world at all, I mean, I know that even movies that I really ridiculously love, I still keep it under perfect, because I don't think there's a perfect movie out there. Really, until this movie. I mean, granted, this is so up my alley as far as everything that's presented in this film. And I don't really have a bad thing to say about it, because to me, there wasn't a bad thing about this movie, literally at all. First of all, let's talk about the cinematography, because that's one of my favorite parts of this movie, period. You could tell that the director and DP's favorite movie was easily The Shining, because there are so many abundant Shining references just in the cinematography alone that it's like, it's incredible. But it's also not like super distracting either, because it also really holds on its own with its really amazingly well done shots. Demi Moore's yellow jacket in like a super contrasty room is just freaking iconic. And then I swear, every single time Dennis Quaid is on screen, it's literally a shot like this the entire time. It not only has personality, but it helps tell the story. And that's what you want in a good cinematographer. Then even moving on to the acting, like every single one of the characters and actors in this, 100% they give it their all. But what's interesting and also kind of hard to do is that every person is kind of hamming it up. Like they're really, really like almost hyper realistic, I guess you could say, but dialed down like 10%. So like it's intense, it's over much, but not too over. Like it's perfect. It's perfect for the tone of the film. Like I was saying about Dennis Quaid, like he absolutely hams it up the whole time, but to a degree where I'm like, yeah, I could absolutely see a Hollywood producer, executive, whoever, being that exact same type of person and acting that way 1000% 24/7. And both Margaret and Demi, without even saying, just flawless characters, flawless acting, it's perfect. Also, Demi Moore, I highly doubt you'll ever see this, but you look amazing. Don't let anybody in the world tell you differently. You don't need the substance needs you. Demi Moore creates the character of Elizabeth as this like perfect fallen from grace actress who, yeah, of course would love to be in the spotlight again, but maybe he just wants her job, just her normal job. And with the beauty standards of Hollywood, they're not even allowing her to work and just live out the rest of her days. And Margaret Qualley just... dude, she really brings out this perfect but broken type of character as well. That even though she's like the 110% better version of her original self, she still has to maintain that perfectness 24/7. And I couldn't imagine doing that. I mean, look at me. But now, of course, the reason I'm talking about this is really the body horror. This movie takes a lot of inspirations. Obviously, for instance, The Shining, massive one. Reanimator, huge one with the green substance and the needle. And absolutely Cronenberg's The Fly. There's also a couple more body horror movies I'd like to mention, but with fear of spoiling, I don't necessarily want to mention them yet. But this one in particular, it beats a lot of them, man. Like, Cronenberg's been so top dog for me as far as body horror. I mean, if he didn't do The Fly, the Videodrome is honestly one of my favorite ones. But really, The Fly for me has kind of reigned supreme for many, many years now. It might be controversial, but I actually think this is better. And I think it's due in part to how this substance actually works. Like, don't get me wrong, the technology behind the teleportation in The Fly, it does actually make sense. And Cronenberg does a really good job of making it make sense. But like this whole like DIY, turn yourself into a better, different version of you and have it be absolutely disgusting, but also plausible that you could basically purchase this thing off of Amazon, blows my mind. And so yeah, I'm cool with like a really simple plot that's more or less been done before, like the old switcheroo and faces, heck, even Face Off's kind of in that realm too. But the way that this movie goes about it is just, it's incredible. Now, like I said, for me, the last 20 minutes of this movie I think are fantastic. A lot of people probably aren't going to think that. Some personally felt that it kind of goes a step too far. For me, I think it actually fits pretty perfectly. Now, is it really scary? No, I actually really never thought this specific thing was scary, other than the fact is like the younger people eventually overcome the older people, and that happens to every single person in the world. Like at some point, we're all gonna get old and just get worked out of society. And for some, including myself, that is a scary thought. It's not super in your face, but it's scary to think about. But what's really gonna get people is the grotesqueness of some of these body horror moments. And yeah, there are moments that will 100% make you just squirm in your chair. And they're so well done. They're so good. God, I'm thinking about them right now and just, But yeah, The Substance is an easy 10 out of 10 for me, man. Now, I will say, like, it's definitely not going to be for everyone as far as the body horror. There's also a good amount of nudity in it, too, so I wouldn't go around bringing your kids. But I think overall, there's so much to enjoy about this film. And even though it's primarily about two women and the standards of Hollywood, every single person in this world can relate to what these characters are thinking and feeling. Race, gender, color, it really doesn't matter. We're all going to at least be there or have been there at some point in life. And that is why I'm urging every single person to go see this movie, because I think it's incredible. And it really should be one of those that absolutely needs to be up for an Oscar. It probably won't because of all the body horror, but at least this shows that you can have such an amazing movie like The Substance and have it still be such a gross out, disgusting film with body horror in it. But hey, that's just me. But what do you think? Have you seen The Substance? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think it's the best horror movie of 2024? If so, let me know in the comments below and what other horror movie or other creepy thing I should talk about next. Thank you for checking out this video. You're amazing. And do not forget that.